Hi, my name is Malcolm Garland, and I'm talking to you today about Elevate UBA, Elevate Urban Black America. This is the goal of this campaign which I've launched. And why? Because it's needed. Look at what's going on in Black America, urban Black America. We're talking about the situations, the hood, the ghetto, the violence, the crime, the teenage pregnancy, the behaviors, the negative behaviors. I have been into studying the wisdom of Kabbalah for a few years now. Started my Torah study in '96, started studying Kabbalah for me in 2004, and I saw some answers to a lot of problems that I see that we experience within Black America today. Basically, let's call it like it is: anger. We Black Americans are angry with white people. I mean, our history is clear. The lust. I can't do it in the boardroom, so I do it in the bedroom, right? And that alone goes with the irresponsibility of fathering children without the requisite support, and then the selfishness, just being in it about what I can get out of the situation. It's all about me, doing my thing, getting over, taking care of myself. These issues are, I think, at the crux of what's going on in urban America, and they can be addressed. They've been addressed. It's nothing new. It's amazing when you listen to the stories of the ancients. I mean, when you go through knowledge that spans thousands of years, and you see the same basic problems that we're dealing with today, and it is exacerbated in the Black community. Now, why is this an issue that should be addressed by us all, whether we're from Black America or not? Because it affects us all. Just look at the crime rates. I mean, the fear and the anguish, and just the chaos and the negative situations that you see in urban centers. Well, and again, it goes along with the education rates and everything else, that the unemployment rate is all related to this behavior, to this negative behavior. Really, it's just selfish behavior, but it's selfish at a level where the whole environment contributes to it. And if you want to address it, you have to address the environment. You have to have what's called a holistic approach. And I believe that the wisdom of Kabbalah offers that holistic approach, starting at, okay, you're an individual in an environment. You can't change your environment, but you can change yourself. And when you change yourselves, and when we change enough of these selves, the environment will still face it. The hood is the way it is because people don't give a damn, and they see that the only way of surviving is to get on the hustle and to win the hustle. So my thing is to provide is to provide knowledge, and in the knowledge and in the wisdom, people will see a way out, which is alter my behavior, be an example. And if when enough people alter their examples, the environment will change. And when the environment will change, everything will get better for everybody. It has to start at individual, and it has to be voluntary. You can't coerce it. That's why all these social programs for years, since the 60s, have all failed. I mean, just think of all the money that we pumped into the hood. Is anything better? Is the hood a better place? I mean, has anything improved? No. Well, why is that? We've had all this money, all these smart people, but nothing has gotten better in the hood or the urban centers. And I mean, you take the Black people out, you put the Hispanics in, and you had the same stuff going on. Okay, because it's the environment. That's why it hasn't changed. We've interjected some programs during the day. I mean, you're seeing some nice-minded kids down there to say stuff, and I guess paint baskets. I grew up, you will know, in what would be considered the hood, and I mean, it's sort of funny. These white kids, they come down there, everybody laugh at them behind their back, because I mean, so And it hasn't worked. Okay, the bottom line, it hasn't worked. And we've had these projects programs since the 60s, and they still haven't worked. And I was even in one, this latest one, Project Seed. What was it? Project Seed. And yeah, Seedlings. And same thing. You get these kids, math stuff. Supposedly they can change. It doesn't work. I mean, it's entertaining, but it just doesn't work. And I would challenge anybody to show any objective evidence. I mean, this program has been around 40 years, and they have one study that was funded by themselves. Have to dig to find that out, which says that it seems to be effective, but all the information is subjective, not objective. I mean, to me, if you want to see if a program is effective in schools, do a score, subjects the kids to this treatment or this training, and then score them again and see what happens. You know, simple, right? But nobody ever does that. Why? Because these programs don't work. And why don't they work? Because it's the environment. You have to address the environment in which these kids live. And I'm just taking it to a bigger view. Is that okay? Not just the kids, but you gotta help the parents, everybody lives in the neighborhood, the business owners, everybody, the cops. I mean, just look at cops who work in the hood for 3 years. They're a basket case. They're worse than the criminals in the hood. I mean, face it. You know, it's old joke in the hood. If you want to decrease crime in the hood by 60%, take the cops out the hood. Because 60% of the drug dealers and all the prostitutes work for the police. So, but what I'm suggesting is we get to the individual. We teach the individual how to think. We teach the individual their innate self-worth, because that's really the issue. Is the people in the hood don't think they're worth anything. So if you really think that you're not worth anything, then you do anything. I mean the stuff that goes in the hood, I could tell you some stuff. You call me a liar, but I mean it's really just a manifestation of this is low self-esteem, and after you get the low self-esteem, you get everything else. I mean, kids are growing up hustling from the get-go. Girls are turning tricks at 13, probably are younger. The guys, you know, the big thing is to pimp your classmates. Girls who giving head for 25 cents. I mean, just all the stuff I've experienced or seen. Well, yeah, obviously I haven't experienced that, but I've heard the kids bragging about it. You know, so and so she gave me something for 25 cents. So, but then as adults, I mean, you know, you got the crack. Well, you know, you got the girls. It's bad, and I don't think that most people just know how bad it is. But when you go down there and you meet the people are people, but you say, okay, well, you know, intelligent, articulate, okay, you're not educated, but something else is missing. Well, it's the esteem, the self-esteem. They really don't think they're worth much. Some people, you know, not everybody, but some people, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but that's just the way it is. And when you get these people out of this hood, they just shut down because it comes down on them. They're out of their element. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. And then it's clear they have low self-worth. Spiritual elevation will wipe all that out. Because when you get into spiritual elevation, then you understand that we're one whole. We're one entity. We're all one. And there's no difference in the eyes of God. Therefore, we are equal in the eyes of God. Now, when it comes to physical abilities, that's something else. But if we can just get these kids to really believe, and people, not just the kids, that they are a manifestation of God, or a part of God, or a piece of God, then they wouldn't do such things. I mean, you definitely wouldn't be having sex with total strangers. You definitely wouldn't be trying to con your cousins into turning tricks for you so that you can get some rims for your dubs. Or I'm just saying, there's just a lot of things that go down that destroy a person from the inside out wouldn't happen if we had this spiritual initiative in the hood. And that's what this campaign is all about. And again, the three tenets I've seen: the anger. Let me tell you something. They hate white people. I mean, lust and selfishness. The hate, the anger, hate. Anger is manifested by hate. But really, the anger is coming from, again, the lack of self-worth. But if we can abate the anger and the lust, okay, if you can't, get a good job, if you can't do this or that, if you can't project yourself as somebody, then you start to degenerate into this drinking, the alcohol, the drugs, and the sex. And then you find yourself on a slippery slope. And that's what you see in the degeneration in the hood. Where, I mean, it's just, and again, selfishness, because then you get to a point where you give up and you think about, okay, I can't make it, I can't do it, so I'm just going to get mine, I'm just going to take care of myself, I'm just going to do my hustle to stay ahead of the game. Now, all this can be addressed, and again, it's a self-worth ego, but a person has to have a reason why to elevate out of that, and they have to do it voluntarily. And that's why I think the ancient wisdom of Kabbalah comes into, because the first Kabbalah lesson I took, I knew this was it, this is what we need, this is the lesson. And again, it's the foundation of every religion. I mean, obviously Judaism, but Christianity, Jesus was a Kabbalist. Islam, Muhammad was a Kabbalist. So, I mean, and Michelangelo studied Kabbalah. Leonardo da Vinci, Sir Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein, but he was Jewish. I mean, remember, physics was called the science of the Jews. Well, and it seemed like all these physicists, for whatever reason, they read the Zohar, which is the main text of Kabbalah. So, I mean, it's all related to Kabbalah, and there's a reason why, because when you get into the tenets of Kabbalah, that be personal accountability for whatever situation I'm in, is because of one reason: my behavior. That's it. It's not the white man, it's not my parents, it's not my wife, it's not my girlfriend, it's my behavior. And after you get that, then okay, it's not about me, it's not about me getting mine, it's about me making a contribution to my community, me helping somebody else. Me helping somebody without expecting to get something back. Yeah, I'm doing good, I got money, yeah, I'll give a woman some money as long as I get something back in return, usually sex. I mean, face it, sex and money. That's what everything is about, and that's why it's going downhill. Because the money, you got to get it from the markets. If you don't, you got to get it illegally. Then it leads you down a slope, because you can never have enough sex, and at a certain stage, sex should be diminished. But if it doesn't, and then if it's just against a physical thing and not anything that's above the physical, is going to be degenerative over time. And that's a trap that a lot of people find themselves in. So again, that's the lust piece. But all this can be addressed with the wisdom, taking accountability for your behavior, understanding that you're a piece of something great, and then learning how to behave. Okay? How to, they say, tap into the light of God, but it's really how to behave, how to behave appropriately and willingly. And that's, I think, an issue, is that you can't force this on somebody. They have to self-adopt it, which is, I think, is why all the programs that supposedly help people in the hood, all of them failed. I mean, there's not been one successful program. If you think there is, then why don't we still have the same issues? Okay? I mean, think about it. We got the same issues. There's nothing new under the sun. King Solomon said that. But these can be addressed with, I think, a steady program. Because remember, at some point in history, the Jewish community was in the same situation that the black community was. Like, with the illegal activities, even the prostitution and the drug stuff. I mean, old Europe that was a Jewish thing. Meaning quarter was where the red light district was. The Jewish quarter was where the red light district was, but Jews grew out of that, and a lot of this Hasidic stuff and the realization of modern Kabbalah, there's a parallel there. Where Jews elevated when the Hasidics came up and the Kabbalists came back. What did they come back from? That's another question. Okay, and hopefully we don't make the same mistake in the black community. But because Kabbalah comes and goes in history, it's the sinusoidal curve. Right now we're on a peak where Kabbalah is here. The books are open. So help me to introduce it to Black America. Now, this is very measurable, and I know that if we can get more black people introduced to Kabbalah, we will see quantum miraculous effect. Even when I'm studying, when I have left and talked to my friends about it, it's like something just clicks. I can tell you that even myself, obviously, I cleaned up a lot of mess. But even the people that I was dealing with when I was in Kabbalah, when I share the lessons, they don't do what they used to do when I knew them. Because you meet people in South Central, you kick it, you hook up, you got your Hennessy and your weed going, and hey, let's get it on. Hey, shit, I'm black. But things change, and folks roll with you, or they don't. The people who roll with you, the people who grow as you grow, I can tell you, every last one are doing well, very well, very well. The people I used to kick with, they're like happily married, kids in school, they're making nice money, and I remember what they came out of, where everybody was on the monkey hustle, and everybody was losing, but everybody was doing the hustle. And I've just seen when people just stop and start thinking about things. That's the beauty of Kabbalah. It makes you stop and think. Why am I doing this? What am I getting out of this? And of course the answer is you're not really getting anything out of it, because if you did, you wouldn't be in the situation you're in. And if you're not in a bad situation, you wouldn't be in the hood. So, hey, let's keep it real. This is what my campaign is about. And give it a shot and see what happens. And the money, where would the money go? The money would go to promoting the program. Now, I am not certified anything to run a school. I wouldn't even attempt to run a school, but I can support people who have a desire to get the education. I know how to direct people to good teachers. And of course, I know how to contribute to the right teachers. There are people who are serious about Kabbalah. There are people who are just there to make a quick buck and to drive the Rolls Royce. Well, obviously, that's not what we're about. The money that I would get would be tithed to my teacher, who's in Tel Aviv. And of course, I've been associated. I was at the Kabbalah Center for several years. I'm with another group of Kabbalists, the B'nai Baruch out of Canada. I took class with them. Of course, I've taken years of class with Scientologists too. So, the secret of Scientologists is just undercover Kabbalah without the Torah. But don't tell nobody yet. L. Ron Hubbard actually studied Kabbalah. That's a secret though. You don't get that until you're like an OT 12. So that's where I'm coming from, and of course, just to keep things going, keep the dialogue. I'm trying to get the dialogue in the Black American experience, and I've been very successful with Facebook and stuff. People, what's Kabbalah? But now they are asking questions. Old Testament, basically Old Testament scholarship. That's where we're going with this. Old Testament. We don't, let's leave the J word, the Jesus word alone. We're in Old Testament. And there's a lot of lessons there that can apply to Black America. And I trust that you will join me on the journey. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, you can just hit me up on Facebook. Everybody loves to hate Malcolm. Enjoy.